With Battleborn's closed technical test hitting this week, we finally got a chance to take a deep, hands-on dive into its competitive scene. And with its 25 heroes, a unique on-the-fly progression system, multiple objective-based modes, and gear that you activate as you go, there's a lot you're going to want to keep track of. Here are 5 things to know about Battleborn's competitive multiplayer. Number 1. Teamwork and team composition is key. Competitive Battleborn might still be a shooter at its core, but the only thing more valuable than being a one-man tornado of destruction is knowing how to play as a team. Many heroes are designed with support in mind, the tankier heroes that mix things up, or the healers and shielders that keep the squishier damage dealers alive. Choosing when to pick an aggressive character and when it's wiser to go on the defensive can often mean the difference between a win and a loss. Fielding a team full of enforcers like Marquis, the robot sniper, or Wrath, the sword-wielding space vampire, might sound scary, but without anyone to sustain them, clashes over objectives can end quickly. I loved rampaging across the map and hacking people apart with Wrath, but I made just as much of an impact with Reyna, throwing out protective shields to my allies so they could continue to fight over contested zones. Victories usually go to the team with the better tactics, rather than the bigger guns. Number 2. You'll get stronger throughout a match. Unlike shooters where you earn kill streaks and power-ups, or even character-based MOBAs where you buy equipment from a store, heroes in Battleborn evolve a little differently. You'll gain levels throughout a match for slaying opponents, completing objectives, and just generally getting things done. And when you level up, you can quickly pop open your helix, where you can choose one of 2 upgrades to augment your character's skills. These skill upgrades could boost damage to your basic attacks. They could add new modifiers like a slow or a blind to one of your abilities. They could increase your hero's sustainability or do anything in between. Each side of the helix usually focuses on different aspects, so knowing how you want to play your hero from the start is important. Number 3. Your gear loadout supports your playstyle. Gear in Battleborn isn't your traditional armor and weapons that will outfit your hero. Instead, Battleborn uses loot packs that you'll find or buy outside the match. And some of the best loot packs drop from cooperative missions, with a higher chance to get something cool. Depending on the quality of the loot pack, you'll get one or often more pieces of gear that could do anything. Upgrade your movement speed, increase your damage, reduce your ability cooldown time, return health on attack, you name it. But many pieces of gear also come with consequences, like doing more damage at the cost of taking more damage. You'll pull up to 3 pieces of gear from your pool to create loadouts, which you can then equip before the start of a match. This way, whichever mode or hero you find yourself playing, you can pick your loadout that's most useful for that situation. Number 4. Capture is going to be very familiar for shooter fans. Of the 3 competitive multiplayer modes announced for Battleborn, we get to play 2 of them, and Capture is by far the most familiar for the shooter genre. It's a 3-point control mode, where you've got to capture and hold the objective zones to rack up points. First team to 1,000 points wins. It's pretty straightforward at first, but the longer the match went on, the more my team and the enemy team began to focus on strategies and tactics. In the very first match I played, everyone just picked the meanest, deadliest looking hero they could find and then started beating each other silly. But by the 3rd round, fights over points would last for minutes at a time, as teams worked to keep each other alive and keep control over the vital second zone. Number 5. Meltdown is all about team fights and lane pushing. Each team starts on the opposite sides of the map with 2 lanes that spawn clusters of little robot minions. The goal is to walk your minions to your opponent's gates, while defending your own from their minions. The more minions you push, the more points you get. It plays similarly to something like Monday Night Combat, where you're bouncing between fighting opponents and trying to keep minions in check. But where Meltdown shines is in the massive fights between teams that break out while you're trying to push your group into their base, and knowing when to fight and when to focus on the objective. I'd regularly see a huge fight going on in one lane, and slip into the other to walk my minions in uncontested. Meltdown was the highlight of my time in competitive Battleborn, because if you're not watching everything, odds are you're missing something sneaky going on. For more on multiplayer, check out our written preview on IGN.com. And for everything Battleborn, you're already in the right place, IGN.